Hey guys, it's quote unquote your boy, Ballface 8020, back again with another great response video. You're gonna have to bear with me tonight. I'm drugged out of my mind on NyQuil. Let's see. Okay, so our old friend Casey, if you haven't been keeping up with him, was a commenter who pointed out to me that he has officially broken up with his longtime girlfriend, Brittany. We know it's for sure Casey's back in the dating game, and on her Instagram, she had talked about having, recovering from a breakup and a healing heart. So Casey's back out on the prowl. So he's making a lot of videos talking about how great he is with women. Now, I'm not going to accuse Casey of lying, but the one thing that isn't adding up is it's hard for me to believe these women he's dating don't know he has a YouTube channel because because Casey doesn't seem like the kind of person who would be able to stop himself from talking about it, like within the first 30 seconds of meeting any woman. So if if these conversations are all real and he's putting it on blast on YouTube, wouldn't the women be seeing it? And then that would make Casey look like even more of an idiot than he already is. I don't know. But then again, it's Casey, so who knows? So, Casey's going to in this game talk about this is it's an interesting title because he says, "Watch me pass this woman's test in real life, female nature exposed." But the thing, what he shows us is actually him passing her shit test, quote unquote, with using text game, quote unquote. So not real life over text. And I mean, real life would be doing it in person or at least over the phone, not via text. I mean, anybody can do that. But it's interesting to see how just classic Casey overthinking here. Let's see what he has to say.
When it comes to dating never ends. Okay, you can be as high value as you want, and I'm gonna literally run through this entire text message with you. This happened live in the flesh. I just woke up.
It didn't happen in the flesh. It happened via text.
And I'm going to show you exactly how to pass a woman's test when she's trying to qualify you for a potential option when you're dating. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because you gotta keep in mind, the test never ends. Okay, when it comes.
I mean, it's just not true. I see tons of relationships. I've seen, I was at a wedding this weekend, and the marriage of the bride and groom doesn't involve any tests. They get in fights, but there doesn't involve any of this testing. Or maybe Casey's going to say there would be no fights if you just passed the shit test. I don't know. But then you have a bunch of other couples who are doing well and just have normal relationships. I mean, and then I think of my parents' relationship and my siblings' relationships with their spouses. It's just completely false. The I'm not even denying that this kind of stuff doesn't like that there isn't a kernel of truth into Casey's relationship philosophy, that there can be times where a woman will lose attraction for even a very successful man who's in good shape simply because she lost respect for him because he was such a beta pushover. But you get away from that by just telling the guy to have some self-respect and don't be such a beta pushover. That's it. That's why I mean, there's not. It's not like there's any specific actions are turning her on and off. Having to force yourself to do this kind of real life role play, like I mean, to just LARP is, what Casey Zander thinks is a real man is exhausting, and it's probably not good for your relationship in the long term. I mean, we know it didn't work for Casey in the long term with Brittany.
When it comes to dating, when it comes to female nature, you'll always be tested. It does not matter how high value you are, how high value you think you are. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm texting like this girl. She's obviously pretty attractive, which is obviously why I'm texting her and engaged. But there's nothing special here. Okay, regular run of the mill chick. Now, you have to understand this for a second.
Sounds like it's coming from Fresh in the Fit.
The amount of work that I have done on myself, I don't tell you this to boast, I don't tell you this to brag, but the things that I've done over the years to put my time in the right spots, like I've taken care of my body, right? I got six pack abs. I got
Dude, nobody cares, man. I mean, seriously, like, I'm genuinely impressed. You've got a great physique. I really admire the work you put in, but women don't care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, yes, if you look like a Holocaust survivor, that's unattractive. That's an unattractive physique. Yes, on the other hand, if you look like just morbidly obese, that's really unattractive. Other than that, in that very wide range, women just don't care, other than except for maybe being like, like a hairy Sasquatch. That can that can be, but other than that, like, either extreme scrawniness, extreme fatness, or extreme body hairness, women just don't care about that. Women don't care about physique. Okay, now they might care a little bit, and I want to stress a little bit about structure, like frame size and how it's built, like with the relatively narrow hips and the wide shoulders and stuff like that. But even that's not that big a deal. In terms of physique, like what's going to impress women, the most would probably be a strong neck. But even that, like a really thick neck, it can become unattractive as well. So look, no, again, Casey, you've got a great physique, but it hasn't helped. It hasn't made you even an iota more attractive to women. If you stopped lifting tomorrow, never exercised again, you would be absolutely just as attractive to women, even with a bit of a beer belly. Okay, so just stop. I mean, it's something that it's to either impress other straight men in some type of like masculinity dominance pecking order. It can help a lot with your own self-esteem, I grant you that, and that can help. And then it appeals to gay men. If you're in the gay community, yes, it's very important. But Casey, for whatever, I don't know what's going on with you, but I definitely don't think you're gay. So I don't. You're not getting anything out of it in that romantic department, and you're leading guys down the wrong path, telling them this, like, oh, hit the gym. And, not that there's even anything wrong with hitting the gym, but I don't like the idea that, these guys, and I've seen it happen, guys think like, I get built or get jacked and that's going to make me attractive to women. And I'm not telling you it's over, but I am telling you that no, that's not true. Getting jacked is not going to be attractive to women. I'm sorry. It's not necessarily going to make you less attractive. And there are certain cases where it can make a difference, particularly if you're a pretty boy, good personality, smart, um, good hair and stuff, but you're tall, but you're just rail thin. You're just like out of this world thin, like 6'2" and 130 pounds. Yeah, you add 50 pounds of muscle, that is going to make you more attractive. But that's an edge case, okay? For the most part, it's not going to make you more attractive to women, and that's that.
I got my own house. I got resources, boats, jet skis, business, online, YouTube following of 300,000. Like it, I'm trying to tell you this because like the proof is in the pudding. It doesn't matter how high value you are, how high value you think you are. You will always, always, always be tested. So let me just read this word for word. I'll put it up on the screen. She texted me the other day. Goes, haven't heard from you. I go, how's Ribfest? Did you have fun? Which is like it's a food festival. She goes, it started raining, so we went downtown instead. I go, we got to talk for a whopping 90 seconds yesterday. LOL.
Uh, all right. I mean, whatever, man. I don't see a problem. The LOL at the end, I'm gonna have to criticize. I would say leave it at we got to talk yesterday for a whopping 90 seconds. If you're going to do the lull, put it before the sentence, not after the sentence. Putting it right after the sentence is I would say is more a bit more feminine. We don't want to get too spurgy here, but that's what I would say. I would say that we got to talk yesterday for a whopping 90 seconds. LOL. I would read that if I read that statement in isolation. I would think that a woman or a girl had sent that text, not a guy.
So she called me yesterday and she had to go after like 60, 65 seconds, for less than 90 seconds. I said that as a joke. She goes, oof, you should be thankful that you even got to talk with me at all. Now, here's where the tests start to begin. Average run of the mill chick says that, has the audacity to say that I should be thankful I even got the opportunity or the chance to talk with her. Do you
Yeah, and this is part of why I wanted to talk about this in this video. I think in he was saying something about the test never stop. You will see. I disagree with him, and I would say if that's what your relationship is like with just nonstop testing, then you're better off not being in that relationship. Doesn't mean that there isn't this stuff doesn't really exist in the early parts of the relationship. For me, like it's tough for me to say because it's like how much of it is just my personality and how much of it is just Casey being an overthinker and a cringe lord. Um, because I would say like let's say I was like in the early stages of courting a young lady or even a not so young lady, and she said that to me. Like she said, "Oof, you should be lucky. You should be glad that you got to it all." I think I probably just wouldn't say anything in response to that because I would just be kind of like, that's like, I would just assume that it was, at least partially tongue in cheek. I don't know this girl, so I don't know. I think Casey taking it as some kind of challenge is, on one hand, it's Casey being a spurg. On the other hand, who really knows what's going on subconsciously, especially with women, especially with young women, especially these days, the Zoomer generation. So, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not going to beat him up too hard here. I don't know if he's not like if he's totally overreacting. Like, what I would do is, I mean, I just wouldn't address that statement if it were me. Like to me, to do anything else would be me not being true to my own personality. To try to, like, if it's a test, okay, and if it's a test, whatever, and if I end up failing the test, okay, but I'm gonna end up failing the test, so to speak, on my own terms. Um, so how exactly would I respond to that? If you should be lucky that she had to me and all. Well, it really depends. Let's see, it's tough to say here. Like, do we actually want to speak with this girl? I can't really tell with Casey. It's like because with Casey, it's all about him. But if I actually did want to speak with her, I guess I'd probably ignore the statement like what she said, and then just said, and then I would say if it was true that I wanted to speak with her, I would just be like, so are you going to be around like later today or something or later tonight? I would say something like that. Or I would just fucking call. you know? Or I would just fucking call then if she was sending the text, if that's what I wanted to do. Um I think anything beyond that is kind of overthinking. Now, if you don't really care or you actually don't want to talk to her and just play the game, and I can't really tell, then I mean, I guess you can do other stuff, but I mean, that sounds pretty retarded to me. Uh, so I don't know. I think Casey's making more work for himself here.
You see how deep the narcissism can run from time to time.
Casey, there. I mean, Casey Zander calling out narcissism is. I'm wondering, is that the most ironic thing ever? I'm trying to think of what could be more ironic than that. Casey Zander calling out. I don't even know if irony is the right word. Like the biggest example of pot calling the kettle black, like to ever exist. I don't know if I can think of a better example. If anybody doesn't have the right to call out narcissism, it's Casey Zander.
In no way, shape, or form am I trying to make you bitter. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to make you think that the game is rigged. This is just how life is. You can make all the money you want in the world, have a six pack abs, be, the most alpha Chad pretty boy stud that you.
Um, Again, women don't care about the 6 point abs. Alpha, pretty boy, Chad. Nah, he's good. What he's trying to say is you could have the money. I think he's right about. I think he's right about. I know he's cited examples of that of guys whose marriages he's saved at least temporarily by telling them to be more alpha, and they were making good money. But if you're actually alpha and a Chad, again, Chad is different because you could theoretically be Chad and have a super beta personality. I have seen it. But if you're an alpha, nah, you don't really have to do anything. People will just naturally defer to you. I've seen it too many times that it's just like people just do it naturally. That you don't nah, you won't be getting tested. I mean this stuff is only really relevant for people who don't naturally have dominant personalities, what we know as alphas.
Are dressed the best. I don't care. This is how it goes. So, The reason why I'm also using this example is for a little example to actually demonstrate like how to pass the test. Instantly, I agree and amplify and exaggerate.
Agree and amplify. What is this? The aughts, dude? Get the fuck out of here, Casey. I mean, like, yeah, you're ridiculous, but you're like 26 years old. You're too young for this agree and amplify shit. I mean, who even fucking told you that? Your dad? How did you even know what agree and amplify is? Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on now.
Exaggerate on her claim, make her look foolish. I go, oh, I know. I'll never stumble upon another blonde chick named Shelby ever again. Totally rare and unique.
Dude, I'm sorry. No, that's just you're just being a dick. You're just being a dick. Like, and here's the thing. It's cool if you wanted to say that. Like, I mean, to me, that's just kind of a dick thing to say. But if you're going to say a comment, make a comment like that, don't do it via text. Because, first of all, it's cowardly. Second of all, this is like where, like, things like I know, like, to an autistic person like Casey, who can't read, like, language signals and stuff, it might not make a difference. But like you have to like say if you're going to say something like that, they need to be able to tell it like in the playful tone of your voice and stuff like that. Like, are you teasing or are you insulting? You know what I mean? And in a text, it's impossible to tell. It just reads like an insult, which is actually how I think he meant it because he's just a dick. Um, so again, you should be thankful that you even got to it all. Now, look, I don't know what she's like, but I would interpret that as again just kind of flirty teasing. And I mean, honestly, I don't like to use the words, but I probably would have done true agree and amplify because he didn't do agree and amplify. He just turned around and insulted. Agree and amplify would be like, yes, I am thankful, and that's why I want to do it again. So when are you going to be available? Um, treat it like a sales call. Because it's the same. It's the same process. And I mean, I'm not saying you should simp, but I'm saying, I mean, I don't. You can show that you're interested. You can show that you're interested. And because that's like if you're interested, you shouldn't have to hide that you are. That's just stupid. If you that's no, it's fucking stupid. This just sounds like being a dick. So I would be like, I am thankful. So are you going to be available to speak this evening? Uh, Something like that. I think that would be much stronger than just this completely retarded insult that Casey did.
Now, right then and there, that agitated her. That struck a nerve. That struck a chord. Because what I basically just said right there is, you're average, you're basic. There's nothing.
I'm convinced. I'm convinced this guy. I mean, first of all, Casey, why are you calling somebody? You called somebody a narcissist. Now you're calling somebody average and basic. The most average and basic guy to ever exist is calling somebody else average and basic. Get the fuck out. And all right, but yeah, that's definitely some Myron Gain shit. I'm positive he listens to that show.
Thing about you that stands out, and I'm being condescending and sarcastic. So when I say totally unique and
Oh, you are? Well, thank you for pointing that out. That I had missed that, but thank you for letting me know.
rare, all of a sudden she knows it's sarcasm. Instantly, then she goes, maybe I'll call you tonight. And then she double texts and goes, I feel like you're super cocky and rude. Now I'm gonna tell you something.
See, and this is why it's just not adding up to me. What she hasn't seen this guy's channel, like she knows what he's doing, right? So did this conversation even really happen?
This girl swerved me for a day or two when it came to the calls. Constantly was busy, constantly was at work, stuff like that. For a lot of you, it registers as low interest, but you have to remember that we started talking for a reason, and she was attracted to me for a reason. These are just the tests and the hoops and the qualifications most guys have to jump through, myself included. I'm no different than you. That's what you have to remember. Like every
Casey, please don't say that. I mean, I understand I am a very flawed person. But I'm nothing like you. That's like the one thing that I have to cling to is that I'm nothing like Casey Zander.
everybody is going to run into the same stuff. You can be a Hollywood celebrity, you're still going to run into stuff like this from time to time. She goes, I feel like you're super cocky and rude. So notice that. She had the audacity to say, oof, I should be thankful that I even got to talk to her at all. And then all of a sudden says, she feels like I'm the one who's super cocky and rude.
Well, probably because you are both of those things.
I text word for it. I go, this is coming from a girl who said I should be lucky to talk to her on the phone, right? She goes, because you call me out for not wanting to talk on the phone.
Right, and then he also forgot to add that he added that effeminate lull at the end. Again, obviously the conversation with me wouldn't have gone to anywhere like that. I would have moved it out of this rut at this point. Again, I would not have if I were there. I would say that Casey's gone way too far, and this is my guess is Casey gets blocked a lot. Remember that friend of his, Caden? That kid probably had a chance with the girl that Casey was trying to help him court. And then Casey blew it with his just garbage text game. He just killed it for that kid, who who I think did have a chance. Um, who I think did have a chance, and Casey fucked it up. And I mean, obviously we weren't there, but from what we saw in the story, you can go watch that video if you haven't seen it or don't remember. Um, But no, I would say. I mean, I think you've really pushing your luck so far. Um, so yeah, just I think I think you went too far.
On the phone, so I finally do, and it's still not good enough. Lame.
See, exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is not a flirty conversation. All right. You've got her, either hurt, agitated, or both. And I know that you think that means you won, but that's not how flirting and seduction is supposed to be done, okay? That's not going to, your goal is to sleep with this girl, right? Or to sleep with her again if you already have. And this kind of conflict is not conducive to that, okay?
She talks for a whopping 65 seconds. Instantly, when she says lame, I start to withdraw, pull back, and display frame control. I go, oh, hush. I'm just playing with you a little. You're fine. Like, stay firm, stay in your masculine frame. Yeah, you're fine. Get over it. Okay, you're fine. That's the implementation that I'm trying to put.
Yeah, I think that was probably the only way to salvage it at this point. Again, I probably would have said something like, again, I would have gone back to it like, okay, so are you going to be available to speak tonight? Something like that. Something a little bit more concrete. But that could just be a stylistic difference. I don't really like the way Casey said what he said in these next three. The oh hush, I'll just play with you a little, you're fine. But I don't see anything necessarily wrong with it either. I think in terms of text game, it's probably solid in that particular part of the exchange.
But that's the frame control that I'm using with the verbals. Instantly, then she goes, So what is this doing? This is passing her test and spiking her curiosity. She says, I blow her a kiss emoji. After I blow her that kiss emoji, instantly she calls me. I'm talking instantly, and this was on a Saturday.
Okay, so assuming the story shook out the way Casey said it did, he did win, I guess. Again, it's not the way I would have played it, but in fairness, the way I would have played it wouldn't have had me get her to actually make the phone call. So, in terms of we can criticize the process, the style, Casey himself all day long. But in terms of results, he did get the victory or what you're looking for in this situation, which was to get her to initiate an immediate call. That seems to be what the goal was. However, I think the more direct and more polite approach would work much more often. Not work to necessarily get her to do that call. Like it only looks good because Casey got what he wanted. And in this case he did. But for every case that works out like this, where the girl does go and make the immediate call and you've maintained the frame or the upper hand or whatever, there's going to be 9 cases where you've been blocked. Whereas just by being polite and straightforward is going to get you a conversation, that later that night, close to 10 out of 10 times. So I think that's, but I mean, I'll admit we don't really have the evidence for that. So in this case, it did work. Casey's bullshit worked. However, for it to work, a couple of things had to happen. One is, Casey would probably be the first to tell you about abundance mindset. But the thing is, Casey can only have that abundance mindset because he really does have an abundance of options due to his looks, his age, and his money, and to a much lesser extent, his status. Most guys don't have that, so they're not, so Casey's able to do it. Also, Casey's a little burned out from all this. It doesn't really mean much to him anymore because, he's fucked and chucked so many girls. And also he doesn't really care about it anyway. It's all like an ego trip for him. So it's a lot easier for him to be more indifferent. He's just never that emotionally invested. Which for sales stuff can be good, but it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily great, because there's that same lack of interest and indifference has probably cost Casey a lot of opportunities. Not that he would care, and not that it's a bad thing that he wouldn't care, but I'm just pointing it out. Um, so I think it's a real mistake for Casey to say that this is ideal for every guy, and this is that it's practical for every guy to utilize the same kind of technique. The other thing is that this the reason that was able to work is because this was a girl that was really that's pretty into him. I mean, she was into him enough to go and initiate this call, this text exchange, right? So I know a girl initiating a text exchange with you doesn't necessarily mean she's into you, but I think it's clear from the tenor of this conversation that she is really into Casey. For I don't know why, but that's regarding due to like whatever meetings they've had in person or speakings, and it's mainly a result of Casey's looks and maybe to a lesser extent Casey's money, or his looks and money combined. Um, so I think that's pretty much it. So if you've got a girl who's really into you and is just being kind of a difficult bitch, then this kind of thing can work. But it's not always going to be that unbalanced in your favor. So, and this is Casey just doesn't understand nuance. He doesn't understand different people's situations, and it causes him to give cookie cutter advice. And apparently, speaking of cookie cutter advice, he's still giving relationship advice despite the fact that his relationship mastery he's teaching that relationship mastery class despite the fact that his relationship lasted what, like 5 years at most. I don't even think it lasted that long. So so don't tell me about relationship mastery. It's just the whole, like, everything with Casey is just a sad thing to see. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.